the warning ignored. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council was filled with voices. Bright lights glowed above as hundreds of alien leaders gathered. Some spoke with pride, some whispered in fear, but all listened when the newest report was shared. A representative from the Varkal Dominion, a tall species with sharp metallic scales, stood in the center. His voice was full of arrogance. "We challenged the humans," he declared. "They were nothing. A small species, still clinging to their home system. Their technology is centuries behind us. Crushing them will be easy." The chamber erupted with laughter from some factions. Others nodded in agreement. To many, humans were nothing more than newcomers, loud, curious, but harmless. But not everyone was amused. From the far side of the chamber, an elder of the Zorathi Confederation rose slowly. His skin was pale and marked with glowing blue veins. His voice shook slightly as he spoke. "You fools, do you even know what you have done?" The room grew quieter. The Varkal representative frowned. "What are you speaking of, old one? They are weak, primitive. They live on one fragile planet. Why should we fear them?" The elder's eyes glimmered in the dim light. "Because history remembers them differently. You only see their small armies and outdated ships, but you do not see what hides beneath. You do not understand what humans become when they are threatened." The laughter faded. A cold tension spread through the chamber. The elder continued, his voice stronger now. "Long ago, before your dominions, before your empires, there were whispers of a species that would fight until nothing remained. They were not the largest, they were not the most advanced, but they adapted. Every war made them sharper, faster, more dangerous. They turned weakness into strength, chaos into weapons. That species was humanity." Some council members shifted, uncomfortably. The younger races had not heard these stories, but the older ones had. Their ancestors once warned of humans as a race that survived disasters that should have destroyed them. The Varkal leader scoffed. "Stories, legends. We live in the age of science, not myths. The humans are nothing more than insects. We will crush them." The elder shook his head. "You speak of crushing them as if it will be simple, but every civilization that thought the same vanished. Do you wonder why humanity was silent for so long? Because they do not waste words. They wait. They watch. And when they move, the galaxy trembles." The chamber was still now. Only the faint hum of energy shields filled the silence. A young representative from another race broke the silence nervously. "But if this is true, why have we not seen their power? Why do they hide?" The elder's gaze turned toward the stars visible through the high windows of the chamber. "Because they do not seek war. They do not need conquest. But when war is brought to them, when they are pushed, they do not stop until their enemies are dust. That is the true danger of humanity. You do not awaken them unless you are ready for the fire they bring." The words sank deep into the minds of many present, but not into all. The Varkal leader smirked, refusing to listen. "Let them try. We have fleets 10 times their size. We have weapons that can turn planets to glass. What can a weak species do against us?" For a moment no one replied. Then the elder spoke again, his voice quiet but sharp as a blade. "They can do what no one else dares. They can fight without fear. They can use everything, every rock, every star, every shadow, to destroy you. They will not fight for glory, they will fight to survive. And survival makes them unstoppable." The silence grew heavier. Even those who doubted could feel the unease spreading. The air seemed colder, the shadows deeper. One by one, council members looked away, whispering among themselves. They remembered the small reports from border stations, human ships appearing where none should be, outposts vanishing without explanation, mysterious signals that disrupted entire communication networks. Perhaps the elder was right. Perhaps the humans were not so weak. But pride is a dangerous thing. The Varkal Dominion ignored every warning. They had already declared their challenge, and they would not back down. In their arrogance, they saw humanity as prey. They believed themselves to be hunters. They never noticed the shift in the stars. They never realized that in the darkness of the void, human eyes were already watching them. And when humans watched, they learned. When they learned, they adapted. And when they adapted, no enemy survived. The chamber's debate ended in uneasy silence. Some were afraid, some were blind. But one truth had been set in motion. The warning had been given, and it had been ignored. The first encounter, the Varkal Dominion, wasted no time. Within weeks of their declaration, their warships moved toward the Sol system. The fleet was massive, a glittering swarm of steel and plasma engines. Thousands of guns pointed toward the stars, ready to crush whatever stood in their way. Inside, the flagship commander Koresh stood with pride. His scales reflected the glow of tactical screens. "The humans will learn their place," he said to his officers. "Their system is undefended, their technology outdated. This will be a swift victory." The crew cheered, confident in their superiority. To them, this was not war. It was extermination. But far away on Earth, the humans already knew what was coming. In underground command bunkers, in hidden orbital stations, and deep beneath the oceans, humanity had been watching. Their satellites had tracked the alien fleet the moment it moved. Silent signals passed between Earth and Mars, between colonies and stations hidden in asteroid belts. Humanity did not panic. They prepared. Inside a dark chamber below the Rocky Mountains, a general stood before a holographic map of the solar system. His voice was calm, steady. "They think we are weak. They think we will break. But we will not break. We will remind them who we are." Around him, officers nodded. Engineers, pilots, and strategists studied every detail. Their faces carried no fear, only focus. In orbit above Earth, hidden among space junk and old satellites, human warships powered up. They were not as shiny or advanced-looking as Varkal ships. Their hulls were scarred, their design simple. But every piece of metal had a purpose. Every weapon had been tested in silence. The Varkal fleet entered the solar system with arrogance. They scanned planets, searching for resistance. At first, they found nothing. Earth's defenses appeared weak. No massive fleets, no superweapons, nothing that could stand against them. Commander Koresh smirked. "Pathetic. Begin planetary bombardment preparations." But then, the lights flickered. The fleet's systems glitched for a moment. Communication screens went dark. Navigation maps scrambled. Officers shouted, trying to fix the errors. "What is happening?" Koresh roared. The answer came quickly. From the shadows of space, human ships emerged. They did not arrive in a grand parade. They appeared like hunters, silent and precise, rising from asteroid fields, from the dark side of moons, from positions the Varkal never imagined. One officer gasped. How long have they been there?" The humans had been there the whole time, watching, waiting. The first strike was not with giant cannons. It was with something far more terrifying: control. Human hackers had slipped into the Varkal systems, using weaknesses the aliens did not even know existed. Entire squadrons lost guidance. Weapons refused to fire. Engines shut down mid-flight. Koresh slammed his claws on the console. "Regain control, now." But before they could recover, the first human attack began. A fleet of human destroyers darted forward, firing railguns that tore through Varkal hulls like knives through flesh. Missiles streaked across the void, guided not by simple tracking but by learning algorithms that adapted to enemy countermeasures instantly. The Varkal fired back, their weapons blazing. Yet every time they thought they had the humans cornered, the humans shifted, moving in ways the aliens had never seen. They used gravity wells, debris fields, and even redirected asteroids as shields. One Varkal cruiser exploded as a rock the size of a mountain slammed into it, guided by human thrusters. Another was sliced apart by a railgun strike that pierced through its core. The Council's warnings were becoming reality. On board his flagship, Koresh growled in frustration. "They fight like shadows. They twist the battlefield itself against..." Us, this is not war, it is madness. But to humans it was not madness, it was survival. In one of the human ships, a pilot whispered to her squad, "They think we're weak. Let's show them what weakness can do." Her fighter dived between two alien battleships, firing torpedoes that crippled both before she vanished into the darkness of space. Every moment of the battle showed the difference. The Varkal had power, size, and arrogance. The humans had cunning, patience, and the will to use everything at their disposal. Within hours, the mighty Varkal fleet began to crumble. Ships drifted powerless, their systems hacked beyond repair. Others fled only to be cut down by traps laid in advance. For the first time, Koresh felt something alien to him. Fear. He stared at the battlefield, where his once proud armada was now nothing more than wreckage burning across the void. And then a human voice cut through the comms, calm and steady. "You asked for this. Now you will see it through." The transmission ended, but the message was clear. Humanity had spoken. Koresh clenched his claws, his pride shattering. He finally understood what the elder meant. The humans were not the prey. They were hunters, patient and lethal, and the Varkal Dominion had just made the greatest mistake of their existence. The lethal response. The battlefield around the Sol system burned with wreckage. Alien ships, once proud symbols of the Varkal Dominion, drifted lifeless in the void. Some exploded silently as their reactors failed, scattering fragments into the darkness. But the battle was not over. Commander Koresh's flagship still stood, surrounded by what remained of his fleet. Dozens of ships, damaged but functional, regrouped and prepared for one last desperate strike. "They are only human," Koresh roared, his voice cracking with anger and fear. "They cannot fight forever. Overwhelm them, break their lines." The Varkal ships formed a tight spearhead and surged forward. Their weapons lit up the void, plasma beams, missiles, and energy cannons firing in a storm. The humans seemed outnumbered, their smaller ships weaving between the blasts. But then, the trap closed. From behind the asteroid belt, hundreds of hidden human drones activated. They swarmed like a cloud of steel insects darting toward the alien formation. Tiny, almost invisible, but armed with explosives powerful enough to shatter cruisers. The Varkal panicked, their sensors overloaded, their targeting systems confused. Drones zipped between their ships, planting charges, cutting engines, ripping apart communication relays. In minutes, the tight formation broke, chaos spread, and the humans struck again. From the shadow of Jupiter, massive warships emerged, carriers that had remained silent until now. Their hangars opened, unleashing squadrons of fighters. Sleek and deadly, the ships streaked through the void, releasing railgun fire and missiles in precise coordinated waves. Koresh's eyes widened. They were hiding more? How many fleets do they have? The answer came in the form of destruction. Varkal Dreadnought, the pride of their armada, was torn apart piece by piece. First, its engines exploded under a rain of railgun fire. Then its bridge was breached by a missile strike. The ship cracked in half, its burning wreckage swallowed by the blackness. Another cruiser tried to retreat, but humans had mined the escape routes. The ship hit a hidden trap and was swallowed in a blinding explosion. Every tactic, every strike showed one terrifying truth. The humans had prepared for this war long before it began. They had studied the enemy, built weapons designed for them, and planned traps with cold precision. In the council chamber light years away, alien leaders watched live feeds of the battle. Gasps filled the room. Some stared in disbelief, others in fear. "They were supposed to be weak," one muttered. "How can they fight like this?" The elder who had warned them earlier only shook his head. "Because this is what humans do. They survive. And survival makes them lethal." Back in the battlefield, Koresh tried to rally his troops. His voice shook. "Hold your ground. They cannot kill us all." But the humans didn't need to kill them all. They just needed to break them, and break them they did. Human warships used unconventional weapons. Solar flares redirected from satellites, electromagnetic pulses that blinded sensors, even small asteroid fragments launched at high speed like bullets. The Varkal, for all their power, were forced into desperation. Koresh slammed his claws against the console. Retreat! Retreat to hyperspace! Engines powered up across his remaining ships. But as the fleet tried to escape, something terrifying happened. The jump drives failed. Koresh's heart froze. What? Why aren't we jumping? His officers scrambled at their consoles. Sir, the humans! They've disrupted the hyperspace gates. We are trapped. Trapped in the humans' home system, and the humans showed no mercy. One by one, the Varkal ships were hunted down. The humans struck fast, then vanished back into the shadows. No direct confrontation, no wasteful battles, just relentless, calculated, strikes until nothing remained. Finally, only Koresh's flagship stood. Fires burned across its hull, systems failing, weapons gone. His crew looked at him with hopeless eyes. On the bridge screen, a transmission appeared. A human face, calm and unreadable, stared back at him. The human spoke slowly, each word sharp as a blade. You came here thinking we were prey, you wanted a war, now you have it. Koresh growled, his pride breaking. You cannot defeat the Dominion. We are endless. The human cut him off. You may be endless, but we only need to end you once. And with that, the transmission ended. Seconds later, railgun rounds pierced the flagship's core. The ship shuddered, split apart, and exploded into fire. Silence returned to the battlefield. Only the burning wrecks of the Varkal fleet remained. The first encounter had ended. The humans had not just won, they had sent a message. To the Varkal, to the Council, to the entire galaxy. The most lethal civilization among the cosmos had awakened. The message to the cosmos. The wreckage of the Varkal fleet drifted across the solar system like broken bones. Fires burned in silence. Metal fragments floated endlessly, and the void itself seemed to remember the violence that had just taken place. But on Earth, there was no celebration. Inside a command bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, human officers stood in silence. Screens showed the aftermath of the battle. Every alien ship destroyed. Every enemy silenced. The room was calm, almost unnaturally so. A general stepped forward, his face hard. The Dominion thought we were prey, he said, quietly. Now the galaxy knows what happens when you corner humanity. The officers nodded, but one of them raised a question. Sir, what about the others? The Council will be watching. Every empire, every species will hear of this. What do we tell them? The general's eyes narrowed. He spoke only one word. Everything. Moments later, across the galaxy, alien communication networks lit up. Emergency channels, public feeds, private frequencies, all intercepted, all overridden. For the first time, humanity did not stay silent. The face of a human commander appeared on screens everywhere. His voice was calm, steady, but carried a weight that chilled every listener. This message is for every civilization among the stars. You have seen what happened here. You have seen what arrogance brings. In the Galactic Council chamber, silence fell as the transmission echoed across the walls. Leaders leaned forward, their eyes locked on the human figure. We are humanity. We are not conquerors. We are not rulers. We did not start this war. But when war is brought to us, we do not run. We do not surrender. We endure. And we end it. Buck. Words were simple, but each one cut deeper than a blade. The human leaned closer, his expression unchanging. Know this. We never forget an enemy. We never forgive an attack. If you strike us, we will rise. If you threaten us, we will fight. And if you challenge us, we will end you. Gasps spread through the council chamber. Some representatives trembled. Others whispered in panic. The elder who had warned them earlier closed his eyes. The fire has awakened, he murmured. Across distant worlds, ordinary beings, farmers, merchants, workers, stared at their screens in fear. They had laughed at humans once, but now they saw the truth. Humans were not weak. They were not primitive. They were a storm that waited in silence until provoked. Back on Earth, the message continued. We do not seek war. We do not seek power. But understand this. If you come for us, we will not stop. Not until the stars themselves remember your name only as dust. The signal ended. Silence followed, stretching across the galaxy. In the chamber, no one dared to speak first. The Varkal seat stood empty, their empire's pride shattered. Other leaders looked at one another nervously. Some whispered about alliances. Others spoke of preparing defenses. But all of them felt the same truth. Humanity had just redrawn the balance of power in the galaxy. The elder broke the silence. His voice was quiet but heavy with meaning. The warning was given and ignored. Now the galaxy must live with the consequence. A younger council member whispered, "Will they come for us next?" "No," the elder replied. "Humans do. Not hunt for sport. But remember this. Do not give them reason, because if you do, they will not stop until nothing of you remains." Beyond the council, in darkened war rooms of other empires, rulers debated. Some feared humanity, vowing to never provoke them. Others burned with anger, their pride wounded, plotting revenge. But deep inside, they all knew one thing. The humans' words were not empty threats. They were promises. Back in the command bunker on Earth, the human general stood silently. He turned to his officers and spoke softly. "The galaxy wanted to see us. Now they have." The officers saluted. No cheers, no celebration. Only resolve. Because humanity knew the truth. The war with the Varkal was only the beginning. The galaxy had heard the message, and the galaxy would never forget. The legend is born. The galaxy was no longer the same. News of the battle spread faster than light. Every transmission, every whisper carried the same story. The Dominion had fallen in the humans' home system. The weak species had not only survived, they had destroyed an empire's pride in a single encounter. On countless worlds, fear settled in like a cold wind. Alien leaders held secret meetings in hidden chambers. Some spoke of forming alliances with humanity, desperate to avoid their wrath. Others plotted revenge, their pride demanding blood. But deep inside, they all carried the same thought. If humans could do this to the Dominion, what could they do to us? In the Galactic Council chamber, the Varkal seat remained empty. A black banner hung over it, symbol of their defeat. The other leaders argued bitterly, their voices echoing. "We cannot allow this species to rise unchecked." One shouted, "They defended themselves." Another replied, trembling, "It was the Dominion who provoked them." Provoked or not, their power is clear. What happens when they decide they no longer wish to hide? The elder who had once warned them sat quietly, watching the fear spread. His voice was calm when he finally spoke. "You still do not understand. Humans do not fight for conquest. They fight for survival. But survival makes them unstoppable. Remember this well. Do not mistake their silence for weakness again." Far away on Earth, life returned to normal, or so it seemed. Children played in the streets. Workers built ships, repaired satellites, and mined asteroids. Humanity did not act like conquerors celebrating victory. They acted like survivors, preparing for what would come next. In hidden bunkers, plans were drawn. New fleets were built. Old strategies refined. Humanity did not speak of revenge or dominance, but their silence was louder than any threat. Above Earth, in orbit, the wreckage of captured Varkal ships floated. Human engineers swarmed over them, studying every system, every weapon. What the Dominion had left behind would only make humanity stronger. On one of the captured ships, a pilot stood with his team. He touched the scorched metal and whispered, "They thought we were weak. Let them think again." Meanwhile, across alien worlds, stories began to grow. At first they were reports. Then they became warnings. And slowly they became legends. Stories of humans who fought like shadows. Stories of humans who turned rocks into weapons and silence into traps. Stories of humans who did not bow, did not break, and did not forgive. On a mining colony far from Earth, alien workers whispered around fires, telling their children, "Never cross paths with humans. They are the storm that waits." On a distant academy world, alien cadets studied simulations of the battle. Professors pointed to the human tactics with awe and fear. "This," they said, "is how a species fights when it refuses to die." The legend spread until even those who had never seen a human began to fear their name. Humanity had become more than a species. They had become a warning. Back in the council, debates raged on. Some leaders wanted to approach Earth with treaties and gifts. Others whispered of assassinations, of secret wars, of crushing humanity before they rose any higher. But in their hearts they hesitated, because they remembered the words broadcast across the galaxy. "If you threaten us, we will fight," and "If you challenge us, we will end you." No one wanted to test those words again. In the quiet of the night, the elder looked out at the stars. His voice was soft, almost a whisper. "The galaxy has many empires, many powers, but only one legend. And that legend has returned. On Earth, humanity remained silent. They did not boast, did not celebrate. They simply watched the stars with calm, patient eyes, because they knew something the others had yet to learn. This was only the beginning, and somewhere, in the depths of space, the most lethal civilization among the cosmos was waiting.